Hello everyone! This is going to be my 2018 art supplies gift guide. I have a whole bunch of really awesome materials to share with you all, so I guess we'll just get straight on into all of the different art supplies. This first thing is one of my absolute favorite finds of 2018, and it is this travel watercolor set. Now, this one is the largest version of this palette. It is 42 watercolors, but they do come smaller. I'm not sure how many different sizes they come in, but this 42 color set was only 25 Canadian dollars, which is crazy, and the paint quality is great. It also has this super interesting packaging that flips out and is kind of like paint chips. That's what it kind of reminds me of. Yep, all in color order. It also comes with a water brush, but I've never used this yet, so I can't speak to the quality of that, but the paints themselves are amazing. So if you were looking at starting out in watercolor or getting someone kind of like a starter watercolor set, this would be a great choice. Now, if you were looking at creating kind of a watercolor starter kit, these next things might be a great addition to that as well. And it is the fluid watercolor blocks. Now, these two that I have just happen to be square, but the reason that I'm recommending the fluid watercolor paper for this gift guide is because not only is the paper amazing quality and a very reasonable price, they also come in possibly the most different shapes, sizes, and types of any paper range for watercolor that I've seen. So obviously it comes in square, in multiple square sizes. It comes hot press, cold press, just so many different sizes, like it's crazy. The other thing is because it is a watercolor block, it means that the paper is attached on more than just like the top side that most kind of pads of paper would have, which means you can paint directly on this pad, not have to take it out and tape it down. It's already secure and it will minimize the warping of the watercolor paper. So those are the fluid watercolor blocks. Also along the lines of surfaces to draw or paint on are these Canson watercolor art boards. Now, art boards are kind of like the watercolor version of a canvas board, so it's essentially watercolor paper that's being mounted. So this is one of the art boards. This is a pack of 10, which is awesome, and also one of the reasons why I'm recommending it, because not only are these great, but normally watercolor art boards, or any art boards for that matter, you can only buy like single large ones. But Canson started making them in packs, and yeah, it's great. I use these a lot. They are fantastic quality, and they would make super nice gifts. You know, it's something different, something a little more fancier to paint on, and yeah. These ones are the 9x12 ones, and I believe they come in 8x10 as well. So those are the Canson watercolor art boards. The next thing that I want to talk about are glass pens. Now, not only do these look fantastic, they make great gifts. And they come in a whole bunch of different shapes and colors, so you could definitely get something that would kind of suit the person, you know, get one of the glass pens in their favorite color. You could also, of course, pair these with some acrylic ink or another type of dip drawing ink. But yeah, these are great for inking, drawings, calligraphy, whatever. They obviously look super cool and beautiful, and they're also not very expensive. So glass pens might be a great idea for a gift. They also tend to, well, mine at least, came in like super nice padded boxes and stuff. So they also look great in the packaging, if that's something you're worried about. Now, this is somewhat of a trendy item for 2018, and it is the Posca markers. Now, of course, I'm sure you have probably heard of these. Like I said, it was quite a trendy product of 2018, but it's also well-deserved. These are paint markers, and they are great. Not really much else to say about them. This is a 15 set, so you could buy somebody a set of these. They also, of course, sell them individually, and they also come in a whole bunch of different nib sizes. So depending on what you think the person might be using it for, or what you might want to ask for, depending on what you yourself might use it for, there's lots of different options. Obviously, the more fine ones might be great for someone who's interested in more outlining and detail work, but if someone's more interested in actually creating some thicker lines or whatever, there are thicker pens as well. So yes, the Posca markers I think would be a great gift for 2018. The next product would be great for someone you might have to buy for that has a whole bunch of art supplies and you don't know what they have, but they still want more art supplies, and it's more unique, I guess I'd say, than just your standard watercolor, acrylic paint, whatever. And it is the Acryla Gouache. Now this is obviously a massive set of the paint, but they do come in smaller sets. But Acryla Gouache, if you don't know, is gouache, but when it dries, it doesn't reactivate. So it is closer to kind of acrylic paint in that regard. So it is a super cool product. It's beautiful, the quality is fantastic, and the paint itself is actually not that expensive compared to most professional art supplies brands. Like, one tube of this stuff is only 5 or 6 Canadian dollars, which might seem like a lot, but when you compare that to watercolor tubes of the same size for professional paint, you're looking at like $13, $18, and just kind of goes up from there depending on the line that the paint is in. But yeah, this stuff is awesome. Like I said, there are different sets available, and I'm sure that'd probably cut down the cost per individual tube of paint within the set. So acrylic gouache might be something you want to look into as a possible gift. This might actually be my favorite thing on this list, and it is the Figma Archetype models. This is obviously a female model. They do make male models as well, and they also make them in different body dimensions. So this one is the more realistic one, but they do make more cartoony body types and all of that stuff. But this is basically kind of like the high-tech drawing model. So it is a super posable figure, kind of like those traditional wooden drawing models, but because it is plastic, you can obviously get a lot more detail in these than in one of those, you know, standard wooden drawing models. They also come with interchangeable hands. They definitely come with at least a fist, and I'm pretty sure one that can like hold something, so you could like make it props if you needed to. So right now mine just has the open hand on it. There might be another hand included, I'm not sure, but I just have the open hands on mine, and that works for me. But yes, it comes in with a stand, so you can like have it doing fighting poses in midair. They're just incredible, and since I have gotten these, I have been using them like non-stop. So I think these would make absolutely incredible gifts. There are a whole bunch of knockoffs. This one is the Figma one, which I believe was the first company that kind of came out with these more detailed drawing models. But I can't speak to the quality of some of the other knockoffs. I just know that there are ones that generally fall apart, aren't that anatomically correct. So definitely watch what you're possibly buying, but I can definitely recommend the Figma ones for being incredible models. The next thing I debated for quite a while whether to include or not, because it is kind of extreme, but I figured I would at least mention it because it is kind of the ultimate digital art supply of the year, I would say. And that would be the new iPad Pros and Apple Pencils. Now, I did kind of want to mainly mention this because there could be people that are getting or giving the newest generation iPad Pros to someone and possibly weren't aware of the Apple Pencil or whatever, but getting the Apple Pencil for the iPad Pro basically turns it into one of the strongest digital art tools you can have. But why I really wanted to mention it is because if you do happen to have the newest generation iPad, the new Apple Pencils you can actually get personalized. So mine, of course, says Studio of MM on it, and yeah, I'm super obsessed with using my iPad Pro right now. Currently, this, like, literally, I don't even have the new iPad yet. I just bought the pencil when I found out that you could personalize it. I use my current iPad Pro all of the time. I'm sure if you watch my behind the studio vlogs, you will see me using it to, like, template drawings out, makeup designs for different things, just a ton of stuff. I'm constantly on it doing something, so that is the Apple Pencil little mention there. Now, in my gift guides, I normally like to include art books because I think art books are fantastic gifts for artists and just anyone that is interested in artwork. But in my last gift guide, I basically went through kind of all of the basic stuff, and most of the art books that I would generally recommend as gifts I've already mentioned in that one. So if you haven't seen that one, I will link it below and card it here. But yes, I basically mentioned all of the books that I would normally mention in a gift guide. Now, I know my pick for this year isn't necessarily going to be up everyone's street, but it did incorporate 3 of my favorite things, which is artwork, Star Wars, and strong female characters. And that is the Women of the Galaxy art book. This is just an incredibly beautiful book. It is like a compilation of a whole bunch of different artists' work for different characters. I'm sure you will recognize a whole bunch of the artists that did work for this book. So if you're interested in Star Wars, it's great. It has like write-ups on all of the different characters and then gorgeous artwork to go along with each one. So yes, I am super, super obsessed with this book, and it definitely is my pick for the year. The last thing that I wanted to mention is more of an idea and not so much a physical product. And that would be if you are buying for someone that is really obsessed with particular art YouTubers, definitely look into whether they have like a Redbubble store or a store envy shop, just something like that where you could buy t-shirts, artwork, whatever, directly from that artist. And, you know, if you're buying for someone, you could be purchasing like a print or something of one of their favorite paintings of that artist. I think that the creators would appreciate you possibly looking at supporting their different endeavors like that as gift options, but also you get some awesome and unique gifts that way. So definitely look up, I know lots of different artists have Redbubble stores, which Redbubble makes fantastic products. You've got like t-shirts, tote bags, phone cases, there's just so much stuff. So definitely look into either your or someone you're purchasing for's favorite artists, art YouTubers, all of that kind of stuff, because you could find some really cool gifts that way. And that is everything for my 2018 Art Supplies gift guide. Hopefully this gave you some possible ideas for either yourself or someone you're buying for. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.